Millionaire's big play again. Magnano throws for the end zone, wide open, striker, touchdown, Millionaires.
Watkins steps back, unleashes a strong deep ball, just underthrown a little bit, but what a catch! It's brought in by Hunter Webb, who charges ahead for a Lancer touchdown.
Short pickup.
They've got Wright in the backfield now. They come straight ahead. Jace Wright made a man miss. At Nash out here, they put a man in motion. That's going to be Luke Winter. They're going to pitch that right side and out to the outside. Green, look out. Green, 40, 35, 30. Gideon Green down the sideline. Gideon Green, touchdowns. Gamori's got Guthrie next to him. Double Y's each side. Rolling out. Gamori. Throwing down in the corner. Well, it's hard to believe. Weekend number 6, high school football season. Gary Crispin along with Jim Webb. WebbWeeklyLive.com. Touchdowns and tailgates back. Brought to you by Fairfield Auto Group. Fairfield for fair deals. I think this is one of the great stadiums in this part of Pennsylvania. It's a backyard place built in the 30s, Rodney Morgan Stadium. People walk to the games, Jim. What, do we have a ball game Friday night? South and Sock, a throwback game. I remember the days they used to open the season together.
Absolutely. Great game, great history, great rivalry, natural grass. Doesn't get any better than that.
Now, they may be growing the grass a little high because they know Watkins and those guys can fly, but this is a team that likes to run the ball, and they're warming up out here right now.
And they always keep it a little high over here. It's great home field advantage for Southside. So
it'll be fun. It's going to be our Rennie Road Armel All-State game. You'll be able to watch it 6:30 live, WebbWeeklyLive.com, and on Facebook. And it's Friday night, Loyal Sock at Southside. What a ball game this is going to be.
Great ball game, Gary. You and Babe have the call, and a lot of fireworks on both sides of the ball offensively, but I tell you, both defenses are pretty stingy too, so it's going to be old school football.
Hey, we better get right to it. We'll take a time out. We'll be back. We're going to talk to the coaches, some of the players, Sock and South preview right here on WebbWeeklyLive.com. It's touchdowns and tailgates.
Over 30 years, one family of dealerships has grown to include 14 brands at 8 locations on an unyielding commitment to hometown values, an unrivaled service, selection, and customer satisfaction for 30 years. Fairfield. For fair deals. You're gonna love us.
You know, I said earlier, Chris Eisworth, I think this is one of the great venues in high school sports. It's got to be a kick for you to come back to your alma mater, be the head coach, and put together just a great program that you guys continue to reload every year despite not having a lot of students.
Well, I tell you, we're really pleased with how the kids have developed over the years, and I tell you, it's really cool when you play here because this isn't a field with bleachers. This is a stadium. And it's one of the few stadiums here. You know, you have Millionaire Stadium up there, and you have South Williamsport here, Rodney K. Morgan's, and you know, a number of others. But this is a great venue.
You've got all the neighbors walking into the game. That's what I like. I have great memories coming to games on Friday nights as a kid. That's when South was still running the single wing back in those days. All right, tonight it's Loyal Sock. Do you have a Loyal Sock memory when you played? What stands out? What for Chris Eisworth?
Well,
you were a quarterback in this
the first thing that comes to mind to me is Kenny Robbins.
Oh yeah,
and he had great programs over there, and he was just a great mentor to me and so many other youngsters. So, you know, when I think of Loyal Sock, I think of him and the great things that he did for, you know, everyone in this whole community.
Yeah, put him on the map. He was my old JV basketball coach at Williamsport, believe it or not. You can do the math to see how far that goes back. Then he goes to Sock, and within 2 years he wins the title in 1970 for the first time. And of course, we know Ken Robbins Stadium. So you get ready for Loyal Sock this time. Did the players talk about this way in advance, or is it another game? I don't think it's just another game. What's it like over here as you prepare?
Anytime you play a local school, you know, for when you go after those bragging rights, it you know, you can say it's just another game, but obviously the kids rub elbows. So I mean, you know, it's a game where there's a lot of excitement, and I'm sure a lot of people will be coming out of the woodwork, you know, to come to the stadium and cheer on, you know, their team, and it's an exciting time for the kids playing, and it's an exciting time for the schools and both communities.
Yeah, you're in a position right now as South comes in. You look at the guys working out. Not a lot of guys in this roster, quality players. One thing you pointed out to me the last few weeks, they played in a lot of really big games.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate. You know, I have guys like Riley Barnes, who's been a 4-year starter for me. You know, Gideon Green's been a 4-year starter. Metzger's been a 3-year starter on the line. You know, Ben Johnson's a 3.5-year starter, played a lot as a freshman. You know, Ashton Martin's a 4-year starter. So these guys, they've got a lot of big games under their belts against a lot of great programs, you know, not just in this local area but around the state. And anytime you can have guys like that, you know, have had a taste of that, it's just great for your program because, you know, their knowledge and their experience trickles down to the youngsters.
Sock coming in, wide open team. Connor Watkins, one of the best in this region. And wide open weapons. They play strong football. Let's talk about keys to the game, what South has to do to beat Sock coming up this coming Friday night.
Well, you know, you talk about Watkins, but, I mean, he's perhaps one of the best players in the whole area, and he's only a junior. But you go from him and you talk about Webb, and you talk about, you know, some of these other guys. I mean, they're just so talent rich and so deep. You know, I mean, one thing you'll notice when you come to the game Friday, I mean, we'll have 30 odd kids on the sideline. You know, Sock will probably have double that. So, I mean, you know, we're playing against much bigger schools week in and week out, and the kids have really, you know, been resilient and done a nice job. I mean, for us, staying healthy to play, you know, Central and Loyalsock and Danville and these schools, you got to stay healthy. So that's a key to our success. The guys, you know, a lot of them play both ways. They don't come off the field. They're on special teams. So, you know, we need to be in good shape, obviously, and we need to be resilient. And I think, you know, over time we've kind of built that attitude with the things we're doing. But, you know, to win a game like this, I mean, it starts at both line of scrimmages. You know, you talk about the offensive line, the defensive line. You know, Loyalsock's a big play team, score a lot of points on big plays. So, I mean, if we can kind of control that stuff and try to, you know, do the things we do, I think we'll have an opportunity to have a chance at the end.
And then you've got the 12th man here, right? And doesn't hurt playing at home because you guys are awfully tough to beat right here.
Yeah, I mean, the stadium has been good to us. I mean, last week at homecoming, I was so proud of the community and the surrounding people. They just came out in droves and supported the guys, and it just makes it so nice because they're right on top of you here. And anyone that hasn't been to a game here, I mean, you can basically almost, if you're a spectator, you can touch the guys.
That's right.
I mean, they're that close. So it's electric, and
it's going to be fun.
There's a lot of energy.
Chris, good luck Friday night. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll be here with you. Rennie Road Armel All-State game of the week, and should be interesting as the Mounties go after their 5th win.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a timeout. More from Fairfield for Fair Deals.
Over 30 years, one family of dealerships has grown to include 14 brands at 8 locations on an unyielding commitment to hometown values and unrivaled service, selection, and customer satisfaction for 30 years. Fairfield, for Fair Deals. You're gonna love us.
Gideon Green, Ben Johnson, South Williamsport Mounties. It seems like you guys have played forever here. And can you believe, Ben, that this is down to the final second half of your career at South Williamsport?
No, I feel like I've been playing here forever, and it's crazy that it's finally coming to an end. It still feels like it was yesterday, but I was playing with like Don Braglin and Tyler Schoenwolf and that whole crew. You guys, Gideon, have had incredible memories. You started as a freshman right off the start. Incredible memories here at South Williamsport. Is it amazing when you look at how few players on the team, but how much you've gotten out of it to be a statewide power at South Williamsport High?
Yeah, it's really incredible how far we've come from being one of the best teams in the state, and me and him were just freshmen on that team, so we didn't have that big of an impact. But to coming back to that and rebuilding into another state powerhouse.
Absolutely. Okay, this week, South Williamsport's coming up against the Loyalsock Lancers. Gideon, tell me what the sock game means to you.
It's probably our biggest rivalry, I'd say. We always come into this game like wanting to win this more than any other game. So we're going to come into this with a good mindset. We're going to get some good practice in this week and hopefully come out with a W.
You have a great memory of last year's game. You must, as you beat them at their place last year and beat them soundly.
Yeah, last year it was probably one of my better defensive games, and I had some big hits that I think I'll never forget growing up my whole life. And yeah.
Student body talking about it all week. Everybody seems to know here in the borough that it's Loyal Sock coming in Friday night.
Yeah, the whole town gets all hyped up for this game every year. The whole school, everyone's talking about it all week, and when Friday comes, it's just going to be a really big day. You guys, Gideon, still do pep rallies or anything like that prior to a big game like this?
Yeah, we usually do one. This year we only have 4 home games, so probably about 3 out of the 4 we're going to have pep rallies for, and this one probably going to be most excited for because it is our biggest rival, Loyal Sock.
Let's talk about, before we talk about big keys to that ball game, let's talk about you guys personally. Both are getting good college looks. Who's looking at you, and how are you feeling right now about some of the schools? Tell me about those schools that are talking to you.
So far I've received one Division I offer from Marist, and I'm getting looked at by other Patriot League schools. And for me, that's great and very important, but the way I'm going to approach that is just focus on South Williamsport and working hard and bonding with my team, because I believe that that's the way that things will roll out, and I feel like that's my best way to get more offers and looks.
Absolutely.
Just focus on our school and not those things right now.
Would you rather me not ask you about some of the people that are interested in Gideon Green, or you just want to talk Loyal Sock?
Right now, I'm completely focused on just this season. Obviously my
that's going to take care of itself.
Yeah,
right?
My future is important, but right now, I'm just completely focused on this season and what we're going to do this season.
Let's talk key to the ball game Friday night. What you guys feel you're going to need to do to win?
I feel like our line is going to have to dominate on both sides of the ball. We're going to have to be able to stop the run along with the pass. Not giving up any big plays, that's a huge part of the game. And I feel like we just run our offense and play defense, we can come out with a win.
Man, down to the trenches, that's where it seems to be won. You know, your assignments. Let's talk about your key to the ball game for South to come out on top.
I think we need to set the tone early and just get the message across that we're here to play, and just get our simple assignments done, and I think everything else will work out.
Doesn't hurt having a 12th man with a hometown crowd, right?
No.
Guys, hey, congratulations on all you've done. You've given everybody a lot of thrills here, and good luck. Friday night, we'll be with you on WebWeeklyLive.com. Babe and I with our Rennie Road Armor All-State game. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Touchdowns and Tailgates, powered by the Fairfield Auto Group, and I'm back with Dr. Chris Massey.
How you doing?
Good to see you today. It's hot out here.
It's really hot out here. I like the warm temperatures, but not this warm.
Let's hope it cools down for Friday night, huh?
I hope so. The players hope so.
The action on the field's going to be hot, so why don't we get right into it? Why don't we stop with your top? We'll start right with your top 5.
Yep. Well, right here, the team practicing behind us, South Williamsport. They were the number 1 team coming in. They took care of Warrior Run pretty easily. It was 48-7, I think, before the backups came in. They're right where they want to be coming into this Loyal Sock game.
Very talented team.
Yep.
They seem to be a little bit more polished than any team.
Mm-hmm.
And each week they go out, take care of business.
Yeah.
Even the Danville game could have very easily. We could be talking about a 5-0 South team right now.
Exactly. And we're going to. The next 5 weeks they play 5 good teams, 5 teams with winning records. So they're going to have a lot of tests coming up, and I'm sure that's the way they like it. That's why you play high school sports, to be challenged like that.
And they seem to be finding different weapons. The young Mr. Boulay to go along with Ashton Martin and Gideon Green and AJ Flick. They all seem to be contributing. So
yeah. The passing game is AJ Flick threw for 201 yards against Warrior Run. So these teams that focus so much on stopping the run and stack that box, they're giving them something else to think about, and they're hurting them for doing that.
Absolutely. Team number 2,
Jersey Shore. Finally got a chance to see them against Montoursville. They got tested. They were down by 1 at the half, but they responded really well in the second half. They won 29-13, and I was in second grade, I think the third grade, the last time they had won at Montoursville. So it was a pretty big win for Jersey Shore.
A big win, and exactly what we expected in a rivalry game like that. They didn't, you throw the records out, and that was what happened.
Yeah, and Montoursville showed that they're 0-5, but they played 5 great teams, and I think that's a team that's going to do some good stuff down here in the second half of the year. And Jersey Shore, who had blown out 3 straight teams, responded to being punched in the mouth a little bit and came back strong, and that's what they needed with Selinsgrove and Shikellamy coming up the next 2 weeks.
And Jersey Shore lost their opener to Bellefonte, but they might be the most balanced team in the area. With the way they're mixing the run and the pass, stingy defense, I mean, they're balanced. They are. What I see. So, team number 3, and Doc Massey's top 5.
Williamsport and
the Millionaires.
You know, they were the old number 1 before they lost to Valley West, and probably the game of the week, coming back in double overtime to beat Shikellamy 45-38, down 10 twice, down 7 in the first overtime. And those are the games that they used to lose in the past, and now, set for the second time in 3 weeks, they overcame a double-digit deficit in the second half to beat a good team.
And Joe Fagnano, Williamsport's quarterback, will be my Webb Weekly Player of the Week. Unfortunately, we don't have him with us this week, but we'll catch up to him and interview him here in a later game. He had a great night.
He is. He's just so poised. He just looks like the prototypical quarterback, and he does not look like a guy that's starting there for the first year. He's just so smart, so poised,
and he ran
makes
for
great
a couple
decisions.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, and he threw for 3 more.
Threw for 3 more. Great night. And Ethan Stryker, definitely a difference maker, a big target for Joe.
Yeah.
It seems like his like back to the good U Miami, back to the University of Miami. They always had that big tight end. They was the security blanket, and it looks like Joe Fagnano's using Ethan Stryker as that receiver to go to in tough situations.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams are concerned with their outside weapons and are trying to slow down Marcus Simmons. And Ethan Stryker takes advantage of that middle of the field beautifully. He's second in the district in catches right now. So just another weapon that Williamsport throws out there, and giving defenses something else to think about.
And like you said, he does his work between the numbers,
which
is unusual in today's world, right? Other than Gideon Green does a lot of work between the numbers.
Yeah, and the day of the spread offense and all the other things we've seen. But he's definitely a weapon for him, and they keep Kevin Brown does a great job developing weapons there, and they're in a good place, I think, going into 2 huge games with Scranton and Delaware Valley.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule coming up. Get us to team number 4.
Wellsboro, still undefeated.
The Green Hornets?
Just rolling through everybody they play in the NTL. Nobody's challenging them up there.
And we might not know till districts what they really have, but they'll be well coached and well prepared.
They will. I mean, it's a great program. Matt Hildebrand's done a fantastic job there since 2013. They're tough. I mean, Quinn Henry's one of the best athletes in District 4. Their defense flies to the ball. So, barring injury, I think they go 10-0, and they're going to get a high seed in the AA field, and then we'll see what they're made of for sure there. And they play Muncie this week, who's 5-0, so that should be a good game.
Great matchup. And let's talk a little bit about. Well, I assume that you're Team 5.
That is correct. Yeah,
Muncie Indians number 5.
Yep, and showed their explosiveness, went up to Sayre. That's a game I thought they would win pretty convincingly, but they put up 62 points.
I wasn't expecting that. I mean,
I wasn't either.
That was a lot of points. And we're going to be down at Muncie next week. We're going to go down and show Muncie some love. Hopefully they're 6-0 when we go down there. So
yeah, they're tough. I mean, their defense is good, and they got a lot of weapons. Coleman good at quarterback. Kind of like Quinn Henry, can hurt you with his arm or his legs. Colby Alpall's had a great year. Dylan Wiltz caught a touchdown in 4 straight games, so they give a defense a lot to think about.
And they've developed so much since the first half of last season till now. How far the program's coming is amazing.
It is.
So what are our top games of the week?
Well, obviously this one, South Williamsport Loyalsock, I think, is the headliner in a week where we have a lot of good games, but I think this is as good as it gets, a neighborhood rivalry. 2 great teams. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I was blessed enough to play in it, and we look forward to it every year. And I was here in South through 9th grade, and then was over at Loyalsock for high school. And I can tell you
got to experience both.
I got
both
on both sides, and everybody looks forward to the game.
Yep.
This year it might be about as good a matchup. Going back to when Kyle Datris was a senior, Dominic Bragalone. That was a heck of a matchup that year. So
that was a slugfest with teams. I mean, they were going back and forth, big plays, big hits, and that's what I expect from this one. If this one doesn't go down to the wire, I'll be surprised.
Well, I'm looking forward to a good game, and there'll be a lot of hitting going on. I can guarantee you that.
It's going to be a physical affair.
What else we got this week?
The Muncie-Wellsboro game, I'm excited for that one with 2 undefeated teams. I think you find out a lot about both teams in that game. And Williamsport-Scranton going up there to play the 5-0 Knights. That's a huge test for them. Then they have Delaware Valley the next week. Delaware Valley's 5-0. So good chance for Williamsport to make a statement and try to say the road to the district championship still goes through Williamsport.
And get back to Doc Massey's number 1, huh?
They beat Scranton and Delaware Valley. That's a good way to do it.
And Williamsport's schedule, I mean, by no means. Williamsport plays a pretty darn good schedule. And we're going to find out the next 2 weeks a little bit more about the Millionaires. So, excellent. Great to see you. Anything else you got in the closing?
Nobody down here talks about them a lot, but Bucktail with 17 players this year really, really impresses me. I'm really happy for what they're doing. 17 guys. I mean, nobody's sitting on the sidelines the whole game there. Everybody has to play, and they're doing some really good things. So I think that's what makes high school sports great. A team with all the odds stacked against it, and here they are, 3-2, winning 2 straight games.
That is amazing, and the Bucktail Bucks creeping into the Doc Massey conversation. Fantastic.
They are. Yeah, they're a factor in the Class A race all of a sudden.
Well, always good to see you.
Likewise.
And you'll be back next week, and maybe we'll take you down to Muncie. Want to ride down to Muncie with us?
We'll see what my work schedule allows.
We got a break here for Fairfield Auto Group, and we'll be right back.
Over 30 years, one family of dealerships has grown to include 14 brands at 8 locations on an unyielding commitment to hometown values and unrivaled service, selection, and customer satisfaction for 30 years. Fairfield. For fair deals. You're gonna love us.
And we made the drive across the river, and we're over here at Loyalsuck now with head coach Justin Van Fleet. How you doing, Coach?
Great. Thanks for having us again on the show this week. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And long tradition, Loyalsuck Southside rivalry. I actually played at Southside through 9th grade and then played over here in high school. So I got to see the rivalry on both ends, and you played in it. Mm-hmm. And you coach with Chris Eisworth. Why don't you give us a little background of the game and what it means to you and you and Chris Eisworth relationship?
Well, this game's a huge game for both communities. This has been the actual rivalry that Loyalsock has had throughout our entire history. Our Montoursville rivalry has been an on again, off again rivalry that's certainly heated up quite heavily now. However, this South Williamsport one has been the consistent piece that's been with our program from Kenny Robbins all the way through with all the great coaches at South Williamsport. That came through.
Back to Coach Charlie Ackerman, I remember. I was actually the ball boy for the team the one year, and they beat Loyalsock and Montoursville in the same year and won the West Branch Championship. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Is there's a huge history between the two schools, a real classic rivalry, and in terms of the coaching staffs, we all know each other. We've all either coached with each other, or there's a connection that goes through those veins and through all of our relationships.
Well, let's talk about the game a little bit. The Mounties are a handful. I mean, there's no doubt. They're a veteran team, big offensive line. They got Gideon Green. They got other weapons, Aston Martin. Mm-hmm. Flick Boy's developing as a quarterback.
They're a great ball club. They came down here and they beat us last year. The year previous, we got them. And in reality, we know that we have our hands full with our matchup Friday night, but we're excited to play in these types of games. This is what you do this for, is to go into big ball games and great situations and have great memories. Whether they're positive or negative, they're still great. Some of them stick with you as terrible, and others are high positives. And we're willing to roll the dice against whoever comes to play us. Heck, if South Williamsport, whoever, we want to get in that ball game and see how we fare. 2 games always bring a smile to your face at Loyalsock. It's Montoursville and it's South Williamsport. They're the 2 every year. Throw the records out, makes no difference. And bragging rights, rivalry, it's all about that. Tell me about your team. How are we coming along? How's the team advancing? Are they where you want them to be? We've had our highs and lows, peaks and valleys, but we're at a high point right now, and we're trying to ride that and continue to carry into this week. Some of the things that we've done is really trying to refine what we do, the why we do it, and really analyze what's our best opportunity. That's seen us transition a few times during the season, and now I really think we're starting to get our feet into the ground and start pushing forward in a manner in which we can consistently look for improvement on a weekly basis and a practice-by-practice basis.
And that's what you want. Some some players having big years. Anybody you want to talk about?
Well, I have a couple guys here that are having great games over the past few weeks, in Connor Watkins and someone who had his best game probably in his high school career, in Chase Waller. So
Chase Waller,
excited for both of them. Chase Waller is one of everyone's favorites. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't smile when you say his name.
And I'm not joking here. And they're stepbrothers in every sense of the word.
They're goofy, and they make sure that they take care of each other. And in addition to that, we've got a great season thus far by Cole Cavanaugh. Hunter Webb's playing off the charts. Gerald Ross, our offensive line, Hunter Knott's doing a great job. Max Dugan's being very consistent, and defensively just kind of coming together, gelling as a unit. Same on the offensive side, really trying to find that mainstay of what we're doing, and I think we've done a lot of digging, and we're finally really starting to strike some gold.
And you can see it each week. We're getting a little better. Even against Central Columbia, we did a lot of good stuff in that game. We unfortunately showed us some of our weaknesses, but it's about learning and getting better from it. So
yeah, it's always about improvement. We always want to progress to the next step. And in that game, we really learned a critical part of what we have to do is make certain that our errors on ourselves aren't hurting us in a sense, and making certain that we're focused on the opposition in total. Last week we were able to do that in practice, really hammer away at what we were doing and how we were doing it, why we were doing it, and we had a much better output last week, obviously.
Well, hopefully it's a fun bus trip back across the river over to the township Friday night.
Well, it's always a nice trip when it's a positive, and that trip is either a very long trip or a very short trip. And like you said, I recognize fully that I'll hear about this in Giant Grocery Food Store for the next few months, no matter what happens.
And Coach Eisworth knows I can root for him every week but one. So.
Chris is one of my favorite people in the world. There's one week in which we don't talk a whole lot. After this, I told his daughter Lily at a soccer game. She was sitting behind me. I said, "Hey, your dad and I are going to be able to be friends again in a couple weeks." She said, "Yeah, that'll be awesome." So, off we go, and certainly excited for this Friday.
Absolutely, and we got big games ahead. And should we talk about the big games ahead or not? Just focus on
South William Sports, South William Sports, South William Sports.
Absolutely, and boy, it's good to see this year that the schedule's full of pretty good teams.
There's not really a down week.
No.
It's certainly making us battle-tested.
Definitely, and we'll get the Step Brothers in here next. Thanks, Coach. Good luck, and we'll take a commercial break. Be right back.
Thank you.
Over 30 years, one family of dealerships has grown to include 14 brands at 8 locations on an unyielding commitment to hometown values and unrivaled service, selection, and customer satisfaction for 30 years. Fairfield, for fair deals. You're gonna love us.
And we're back with Lancers Chase Waller and Connor Watkins, and you two really are stepbrothers. Why don't you tell them so they know I'm not joking around?
Yeah, we're stepbrothers. 10 years.
10 years you guys have been, and I've known your dad a long time, Casey, right. and Dane, Connor's mom, and made you stepbrothers, right?
Correct.
How is that, Connor?
I mean, it's pretty awesome. At the beginning, we were both kind of geeks when we were younger. We played a lot of video games. We played Pokemon a ton. We'd spend like 8 hours a day playing that, and that kind of just built our bond together from the start. Both our parents had apartments back then. They didn't live together, but almost every night we had a sleepover so we could hang out with each other.
That's fantastic, and yeah, you're like a son to me. I see enough of you up with Hunter and the way you have grown, and Connor have grown and played sports. It's been a fantastic ride. Your senior year, we'll get from you. Tell me what this South game means and what it all means to Loyalsock this time go around your last time.
Really looking forward to it. It's a big game. Glad I'm getting a chance out here. Last week was great.
Fantastic week last week. 14 tackles, interceptions. Hunter would have blocked better. He would have got you in the end zone. It's a joke. But
I remember that from the play. Right when I got it, it felt like I stopped. And I was just sat there for a little while. He's like, I'm blocking, follow me. And I just went right there.
No, that's fantastic. He just came up a little short getting a touchdown. And it's hard to believe it's your senior year. But, hey, you're on the field. You're getting opportunity. You're doing well for it. Let everybody know how it feels to work as hard as you had this long, wait for your opportunity, and now to capitalize on it.
It's awesome. I mean, been doing it, working forever for 4 years here.
And you never gave up. You just kept working hard, and opportunities knocked this year, and you've answered.
Yep.
Congratulations. Great job.
Great.
Connor, you've been chucking it all over. You have a lot of weapons on the field, a lot of targets. You look like the prototypical college quarterback, and I know you were down at the Nike opening. And tell us where you're at individually. Anybody looking at you?
I mean, I'm talking to guys. It's not nothing set in stone. During the season, it's full-on team. It's everything's about the season. I haven't talked to anybody since camp started, but
and that's the right way to be.
That's right.
Team first, right?
That's right. This summer, every morning here working with our guys, and then weekends I'd spend at camp. So I mean, it was a hectic summer, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I think it'll pay off.
I think it will too, and I can see the arm strength from when we were down at the Nike opening, and that was in March or April, until the season. Your arm strength has improved tremendously. You agree with that?
Right. Yep. I did a lot of a different type of workout. I used a lot of medicine balls type stuff like that to make my arm more flexible and strengthen it through throwing motions instead of like a lot of powerlifting. So,
tell us about the South Williamsport rivalry. I mean, for whatever reason, it's just one of those games. You smile. You think about the South game, you smile. Give us a little lowdown. Look into it.
South is always a big one. I remember my only ever time in South Williamsport playing. I was in middle school, and my first play, it was a 900. I rolled out to my left, and I threw the ball, and I just kind of faded out of bounds, and I was 2 steps out of bounds and got lit up right into the gravel. So, I mean, I've always remembered that game, and it's always been tough fought, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
South loves to hit kids from Loyalsock. It's always been that way. I've been on both sides of it. It's always been that way. So what do you think? Going over to South, we coming back across with a W?
I hope so. That's the plan. That's the plan.
That's the plan, huh? You're thinking, why do I get the tough questions?
Yeah. No, we definitely go in there. We know it's going to be a tough physical game. You just got to go out and make plays. Coaches put us in the right position. We'll be fine.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Just play the best you can and do your best job, and let the chips fall where they may. Connor, any thoughts on the game?
I'm just looking forward to it. You know, going into the game last year, we were real confident. It was a little rainy game. Our game plan was to, spread them out, be able to do some stuff. We weren't able to do that last year. So that was a big loss on our parts. It hurt a lot. So, I mean, we've been driving and working, and we're really looking forward to this Friday and hopes we can get some revenge on them. So,
well, that's good to hear, and not the revenge, but I'd agree with you. Right. It's supposed to be a beautiful night. The temperature's going to go down with it. They keep that turf a little high. Grass. They have natural grass. They keep that a little higher over there, so we better be ready with footwear. But I look forward to it. It's one of those games you look forward to all year long. And you want to leave us with anything in closing? Anything about the Lancers? Anything about anybody funny?
We've been working hard since the beginning of the year. We've improved a lot. We've already worked for 3 hours today. We'll be working hard the whole week. When Friday comes, we're going to fly around and we're going to do our best. Hopefully we'll come back with a win. So,
Coach Van Fleet puts his heart and soul in, doesn't he, for you guys?
He does everything, man. He fights 24/7 for us. No matter what situation you're in, he's there for you 100%. So.
Anything you want to add? You're the senior going in. Last time you're going to play Southside here. And Coach Van Fleet, your career, anything you want to add about it?
Just they're good coaches. And
just you're ready to go.
Ready to go. We've been working at this since the summer. So.
Turn you loose, huh?
Yeah.
Chase Wallen, turn them loose. Is that right?
Exactly.
And we've had a lot of fun over the year, boys, and I wish you good luck on Friday night. And that's all we got. We're going to leave it here from Loyalsock, wrap up week number 5, and we'll be back next week. And thank you to Fairfield Auto Group for being our sponsor, and get out and see a game Friday night.
On first down at 10, they go to Potts, and there's Potts, 45-50. Potts going to run away from people. He's at the 20, the 15. Touchdown, Potts. Convoy back here, back to pass, looking for Shea. Shea's got his man beat on the dead run. Touchdown,
Look. Driving to get that first down.
That's Green off that left side, big hole, 20-15, and down to the 13-yard line. Jan Shamori. He's got Guthrie next to him. Double wides each side. Rolling out. Shamori. Throwing down in the corner. The catch was made by Stanford.
Third and long. Play action. Going to throw across the middle.
It's intercepted by Hunter Webb. Hunter Webb tipped it. He's going to run.
and he leaps forward.